Welcome back to the Law Firm Growth Guys. This is episode 4. I'm joined again with Cory, Tays, and Mike Lowe. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Pretty good. Ready to
Doing
talk.
great this morning, Jordan. How you doing?
Fantastic, Mike. Love the enthusiasm we're bringing. All right, today's video topic is AI SEO and LLM SEO. So these are two things that I have gotten emails about and talked to prospective clients about ad nauseum for the last 6 weeks or so. So I want to take an opportunity to explain AI SEO, LLM SEO, what it is, what people mean when they say it, and whether or not it's legitimate. So let's go ahead and get started. First, what is AI SEO? We're not talking about tools that help you with SEO. There are AI tools that can help you with SEO, tools that we utilize all the time. We're talking about strategies implemented into your SEO that help you to rank for AI. I really want to hammer this home. It is a marketing gimmick. There's no such thing as AI SEO. There's no such thing as LLM SEO. These are just fun buzzwords that marketers are trying to use to take advantage of law firms and attorneys who know their competitors are implementing AI practices or AI tools into their practice. And these law firms have FOMO. They're missing out. They want to be involved in AI. So they hear a marketing agency pitch AI SEO, LLM SEO, and they're like, yeah, sounds great. Let's do it. We want to rank in ChatGPT. We want to rank in Google generative AI results. For the most part, this whole thing, it's a fugazi. It's fugazi. It's fake. I'll let Mike Lowe, our in-house SEO expert, jump in and kind of explain why it is fake and what AI SEO, LLM SEO really means. Mike, you want to go ahead and jump in?
Yeah, so, the concept of using AI for SEO is one thing that you hit on there, which is important to distinguish here. Using AI for SEO is not a gimmick. That's not what we're suggesting. That's actually smart if you use it the right way. We'll get into that later. But AI SEO, the concept of doing something special where you're going to rank all of a sudden really well on these search engines is one of those little sources that pop up. That's valuable, but they're not doing anything different than actual SEO. At the end of the day, it's all about the content you're creating, and the content that you create for Google SEO or your website is really content marketing. That's exactly the same ranking factors, honestly, more lenient ranking factors to rank well in the ChatGPT sources, the Claude sources, the Perplexity sources, Gemini sources, the people also ask sections on Google. Those all use the same ranking criteria. It's honestly easier to rank in those, just doing the same standard best practices of SEO that you're trying to rank with on Google. You should inherently rank with in those tools as well. It's all natural language processing, NLP.
Yeah, and I think it's important really quickly to note that while AI, generative AI tools, GPT, those are all really shiny new objects. They're really neat tech. They're absolutely the future. It's being presented as though they are the future now. They are the solution that you need to be optimized first. And the truth of the matter is, while they are great tools and while more and more people are starting to use them in their day-to-day lives, the stats don't lie. I mean, Google and traditional search engines still dominate the market. While you should focus on, hey, how do I get my law firm, how do I get my company ranking in ChatGPT and appearing in the results when someone searches for, say, a mass tort or a local personal injury on Perplexity, it's still embodies a small percentage of the total market, and your first focus should be Google, should be Bing, should be YouTube, should be those more traditional search methods. So just want to start with that, and then just to set a standard. This is important stuff, but we don't expect to see a full shift into AI as the primary search tool for years potentially. It's still no tech. It still has a lot of flaws. It still has to be adopted by a lot of people. So want to make a note of that. But Mike, you touched on something important here, which is the ranking factors for ranking in, let's just use ChatGPT for this conversation. In ChatGPT, they're really the same as ranking in Google. What are those ranking factors, and which, if any, are more important to GPT than Google?
How much time you got? The ranking factors are they're endless, but like when you dumb it down is when it's easy to understand what these things are doing. It's again we always use the guy sitting with a fan next to him. If like pretending that's Google or pretending that any of that's these AIs deciding who should show up for what searches, they have these big picture visually spreadsheet that goes on forever, and that's billions of web pages, and all of those web pages have different components. Those are factors. So if you make a search, Jordan, what's the search you might have made today or yesterday?
A nearest coffee shop to my apartment.
Do a different one. That's going to be Google Maps. Give me.
All
Let's
right.
not do local SEO. We did it last time.
What did I search? I searched FIFA
Suboxone,
scores. I haven't searched
FIFA
any.
scores.
Yes, I did search some soccer scores this morning.
Okay, so you put FIFA scores in Google, you put FIFA scores in GPT or any of the AI tools. Well, you have all these different aspects of a web page. One of them is your headings, right? One of them is your title of the page. One of them is your meta description, your meta title that shows up on Google and people show, or for the results they show. We call that your shelving, kind of like why you buy Coca-Cola instead of buying Pepsi. Or if you like Pepsi, not trying to hurt any feelings there. But you got your headings, you got your titles, you have those standard ranking factors, and then you have the content that actually goes in between. It's like, what is the book that's on this page? What are the chapters of that book? You can kind of gauge what's going to be written in between the lines of that. That's the standard SEO that's been done for 20 years. The other things outside of that are things like backlinks. That's offsite SEO, right? Where people link back to your blog, kind of like a popularity vote, saying this is a credible source for whatever they link back with. This is a credible source for FIFA scores, is kind of their vote of confidence there. And the more powerful those sites are seen in the eyes of Google or ChatGPT or Bing or any of these, those votes count more than others. Not every vote is equal in that game. So those are the traditional factors, but then there's a million things in between the lines when you want to get really in the nitty gritty, like internal linking is one of them that we preach on. But really, the basic is just content. What's going to show up on that page, and how well does Google or ChatGPT or Bing understand what is on that page when they're quickly trying to scour billions of these? Those are the ones that show up at the top. And if you're not doing everything to make their life easy, that's why you're not going to rank well on Google, Bing, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, or any of them. But if you do them great, you have a way better shot of showing up and them understanding what you want to show up for, who your page is intended for.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. I mean, our approach has been very content first for the last 4 years now, where our priority is quality content and not just keyword driven content. And I think that's paid off, and we're seeing that in our clients' results because our focus is actually providing content that has value. Like Cory, when you write content, you don't start off with keywords. What's your starting point if you're writing like a new page? Like let's go Suboxone lawsuit.
One is competitor research. That's always, I think, the most important part to understand the landscape of, what you're trying to get into. And then basic research on the internet, whether it's looking at competitors, whether it's looking at the FDA, understanding the basis of everything is important and not relying on, a language, like a chat GPT to tell you, what is the lawsuit. I think the first part of any good content is understanding, the competitive landscape and then the structure of the content you need to create and then the unique benefits that your law firm offers in the context. Law firms may be getting into different mass torts or having a marketing agency try to understand and undertake this objective of writing about a certain mass tort. Will lead them to giving ChatGPT the list of keywords, the topic, and then expecting it to spit out a 2,000 word blog that's perfect and understands the legal landscape perfectly. But that's just not where you're going to find your success, because success comes within research and then applying ChatGPT in strategic ways to, find the quality product in the end. I think a lot of the AI content we see is surface level and poorly written. I mean, it's grammatically correct, but it is so surface level that it leaves some questions to be answered, whether it's, somebody leading them to contact a law firm for more information. That's probably not what you're going to get out of it. You're probably going to get them bouncing off your website and finding somebody who has the most recent updates, who it's clearly written by somebody who understands the lawsuit. It seems like it's written by a lawyer. People don't want just, the one thing we see is a lawyer can help you navigate the complexities of X, Y, and Z, but what we can get more out of it is applying a certain tone and grammar guidelines to AI writing and then including relevant resources and input from people who are actually working on this, because that's where the gold is found.
Mike, you jump in first since you had that hand raised, and then I'll chime in.
Thank you.
There you go.
Cory, you telling me I just came back from a legal conference and they told me I could just go on ChatGPT and say, write me a blog about the Depo-Provera lawsuit and I would rank #1. Are you telling me that's not going to work?
No, that's not going to work. You need to have a basis of research and understanding of the lawsuit, and then to work with people, who can apply this knowledge in a consistent and factual way.
The
So
guy
you
on
gotta-
stage said that you put, write me a blog about the Depo-Provera lawsuit, and then you pull the lever and go, bloop, slot machine lights up, and that's not true?
No, that's not true. You won't get 1,000 cases from plugging in a few words and putting it on your website.
All right.
So you
Good to
kind of
know.
like circumnavigated, and then Mike brought it back. What I wanted to point out is that a lot of folks, even now, they'll look at a keyword for a lawsuit. So with folks on Suboxone, again, they say, all right, the main keyword, we know the data says the keyword should be Suboxone lawsuit. And then maybe they just look at competitor content, plug some stuff into GPT or another writing tool, and then chug out a bunch of generic content about Suboxone. The thing that differentiates okay content, which oversaturates the market, content like that, from good content is taking the time to actually research it. So you don't use your competitors as the source. You can use them as a jumping off point. You don't use ChatGPT as the source. Use it as a helpful tool. You have to source the materials, the research, the documents that you need, and you need to fully understand the lawsuit. Not just the lawsuit, but the science behind the lawsuit, the potential legal processes. And from there, take the time to dev out or write out quality content that provides actual, useful, and unique content for your audience. And that's what it takes to rank in GPT and other search engines. That's what it takes to rank in Google. We're seeing a huge shift. We have for like 2-3 years away from keyword exact match ranking and more info-based quality content ranking, even above exact match keywords.
I think what it boils down to, Jordan, is you got to give a shit, right? Like if you give a shit, you're going to write good content that actually has value there, and Google will be able to understand that you gave a shit when putting it together. They're gonna always reward that content because it makes their product better. That's what they're helping their users find the best content on the internet. And lastly, the user, the person who may have been harmed in that legal situation, whether it be from Depo-Provera, Suboxone, or they were in a car accident, they can tell they got brains of their own whether you gave a shit when writing that piece for them and they're actually getting value from it. And as long as you give a shit, you will be rewarded. The ones who don't and just try to get a shortcut to success, like in anything in life, they're not going to succeed here either.
Yeah. So, if there is anything that represents AI SEO or LLM SEO, it's taking the time to write quality, well-researched, well-organized content. But that's no different than traditional SEO. In this day and age, if you're not doing that in traditional SEO, just you're probably competing amongst the thousands of other folks that are doing the same work as you, and you're probably sitting there in the mid pack of the rankings and not really standing out, not getting engagement. So again, there is no such thing as AI SEO. It's just traditional SEO best practices, and in this day and age, content quality is going to be probably the #1 ranking factor, along with like what Mike said, like trustworthiness. So your brand's got to be trustworthy. Google, ChatGPT, all those tools need to know that you're a legit law firm. There's a million factors to go into that, but things like backlinks, like reviews, like testimonials, like,
Posted on other platforms too, right? Social is a big thing.
Those are all huge indicators that you're a legit law firm, that you know what you're talking about. So those are all going to be important to AI SEO. Functionality, performance are important. So how fast your website loads, how easy it is to navigate from one piece of content on your website to the next piece of content on your website. It's obviously important for traditional SEO. GPT and other AI search engines are going to consider that as well. They want to be able to find a breadth of content related to one subject matter, and it should be easy for them to access all of those pieces very quickly from your main piece. So organization, site speed, functionality, those are all also going to be important. But again, there's no difference between those practices for traditional SEO, and it is not rewritten for AI.
Also, I want to put something out there that even though ChatGPT and other AI, I guess, search engines, their ability to search the internet even though that's carving out a percentage of the market, it doesn't mean that the same people that use those tools don't have access to Google and don't regularly use Google. So even if it is becoming, one way for somebody to search for something or to find more tailored information to their specific situation, it doesn't mean that those same people aren't using traditional search engines. And then also those traditional search engines are increasingly adding AI to their ranking factors, or, see the generative AI overview by Google. It all is kind of based off the same metrics, but the wider user base is kind of the same, but the niche that they're carving out serves a specific purpose and is not the only way people are going to find information. I feel like that's something that marketers are selling to people, where this is the future, but it is only, a portion of the future, and the market will adapt to it, and Google will understand that, people are finding value in this and they're going to try to implement this in their services too. It's not just going to be ChatGPT is going to be your all-in-one. You can find anything on the internet with it. It's still written with errors, but there's still a market out there for traditional search, whatever that means.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I use ChatGPT. We use ChatGPT more than like probably I'd assume 90% of the population for research. For just I have conversations with it. It writes a lot of songs about my dog on a regular basis, recipes, all kinds of stuff. But I haven't shifted away from Google, and I'm kind of tired of Google because my part of my job revolves around looking at Google search all day long. But ChatGPT is not 100% reliable at this point. Neither is Google Generative AI or a lot of these tools. They are very much limited to the knowledge base that is available to them. So there's still a lot of hallucinations. There's a lot of misleading materials on there. It's getting better, but it's not the perfect solution yet. A lot of them haven't created good solutions for finding services yet. Like you can search like car accident lawyer on ChatGPT, but the results are kind of all over the place still. So I think you're right. People might utilize it in their life on a day-to-day basis for certain tasks, but that's not going to mean they completely shifted 100% to ChatGPT or other AI search. They're still going to use Google.
I think part that needs to be considered too is, and we ran into this like in the early days of AI a year ago, a year and a half ago maybe, when I'm starting to see it emerge. Is like those first models were spitting out like pretty incredible things, but the rate of garbage you would get out of them too was pretty incredible. And so when these are all getting posted on the World Wide Web into the index for these models to then ingest and understand that data and learn from and then spit out more stuff. Well, when one thing is wrong in one piece of content that it's now ingested, that's what causes hallucinations as well, besides for it just trying to reach for information it doesn't have. Well, one thing's wrong and it takes it as fact though, because it's been put into the database. And then that spits out another piece of content that it gets published by a different website that says that same point that's wrong. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It creates this compounding snowball effect of just like, man, we don't know if any of this is actually accurate anymore. So it's like having that human vetting process is super critical, but it also opens the door for, I've always thought, bad actors to come around and then just intentionally just garbage everywhere and ruin the outputs of these AI models intentionally.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess it's a good time to mention not all AI is the same. So I don't want to a badmouth Google here, but ChatGPT quality is better than Google. Perplexity quality on a daily basis can be, for certain tasks, a lot better than GPT. But especially for like generative AI with Google, we're seeing there's a recent study that said 65% of all of the generative AI content at the top of queries was either misleading or completely false. And we have already seen that, like when we search lawsuits to see like how our law firms are ranking, especially in the mass tort space, we get the craziest results and like the most misinformation. It's unbelievable. And we're seeing the results of that, right? So like now when our client is ranking number one and there's generative results and they're the first, even the first three sources or citations for that generative result, they're getting a lower level of intake than if they were number two and they were the first actual result in the SERP and not cited in the AI output. So people, and that tells me at least, that people don't always necessarily trust Google Gen AI outputs, and they'd rather just take the information directly from the source.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've noticed. We're going to continue to have unique takeaways like this as this gets more and more integrated. One, for guys who look at Google all day, every day, Yeah, it's just an absolute dumpster on there nowadays. I feel like you got ad after ad after ad. You've got random AI thing here. You've got a few search results. You've got a map. You've got more ads. It's like, what is going on here? What happened to the simple Google pages we knew and loved? Google will figure it out. They're a gajillion-dollar company for a reason. It's going to take them some time though. But one of the other takeaways, besides for click-through rates, which is what we're describing there, right, is the ones in the AI section, the people that these guys are trying to sell you on, or girls are trying to sell you on, they're not getting clicked on nearly as much as the actual organic results still do. So like ranking in that featured snippet spot gets higher click-through rates than getting ranked in the AI overview, which is above it. But in addition to that, on the other side, even though the click-through rates are substantially lower, it's substantially lower in the AI overview sections. The user intent with users who do click on those and then convert on a website is astronomically higher than we've ever seen with user intent before, which is another interesting takeaway that we're slowly now starting to develop as data becomes more available to us as more of these studies get done. Yeah, the landscape is shifting. There's pros and cons to both sides there, but the best of both worlds will be ranking in both spots, right? You want to show up in here and here. And if they click on you in here, we know that that click is more valuable up here, but we know we're going to get way more clicks down here too, even out.
Yeah. So to wrap up, again, if you're approached by a marketing agency, an ad agency, an SEO guy, they say, hey, your current vendor, your current agency, they're not focused on AI SEO. We're doing AI SEO. It's cutting edge. It's the new thing. It's LLM SEO. You need to implement it now, or you're gonna be lost in a couple of years. It's all, it's all gimmick.
They say we figured out this one thing that if we change it in the source code, you're going to rank #1. You need to run as far away from that person that you possibly can. You are going to get your money stolen from you.
If you're working with an agency or if you're doing internal, just keep focusing on the same things you're focusing on to rank on Google now, and it will pay off. Focus on content, focus on quality content, focus on your brand recognition, trustworthiness, functionality. All of those keys to good SEO apply to AI SEO, which again isn't a real thing. Anything else to add, guys?
That's all I got to huff and puff about today.
Cool. Cory, fun fact?
I didn't come prepared this week. Let me think. God, you can't put me on the spot like this.
I can always do my French tank one, dude. The French tank one always plays.
How about an idiom? You used to send me daily idioms.
1 second.
Dude, what's an idiom? I feel like I haven't thought about idioms since 4th grade.
Cory, a book of them he's written.
Canada has the longest coastline of any country in the world. So longer than Chile, even though that thing is long and skinny. If you walked the entire coastline of Canada, going 12 miles per day, pretty much all a human can handle, it would take you over 27 years to walk the coastline of Canada.
How about that? Wow. Here's a fun
What about
fact
that
for
thing
you.
about the Russia and the tip of Alaska thing, Cory?
What was that?
Where you can walk across from the U.S. to Russia?
Yeah, if there's enough ice up there, you can.
Great fact.
But also there's an island that's pretty much half Canada, half US, smack dab in the middle.
All right, cool. Here's a fun fact for you. The Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri has more coastline than the state of Florida.
State of California.
State of Florida as well.
Damn.
I think.
And the state of California.
And the state of, okay. Now we're just making up facts, I think, but
I didn't know any of that. That's incredible.
put that in your little fact book, Cory. Next time, you better come prepared with that fact. All right, guys, please like, subscribe, comment if you guys enjoy this content. If you have a subject that you want us to cover, let us know in the comments below. Visit truelawmarketing.com to learn about our services, our team, or get in contact with us. I'm Jordan Terry.
Mike Lowe.
And that's Michael
Cory. Cory Tays, Mike Lowe.
Which one is Cory Tays and which one's Mike Lowe? Oh, we have name tags.
Cory Tays,
Yeah.
Mike Lowe.
Perfect. All right, Mike Lowe, Cory Tays, good talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for watching.
Alrighty, see you fellas.